perspective, because these guys will took it totally out of perspective. So I want to speak to the mothers this morning, just very briefly. And I want to use as my text 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 1 and 2. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 1 and 2. This is an instruction that Paul gives to a young Timothy. Remember, Paul set Timothy up in ministry, and he was now in charge of the church. So he writes to him and he gives him some really good advice. If you want some good advice out of the scriptures, read 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy, some really good advice for life and for living. And so he writes to Timothy, and this is what he says: do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father. Treat younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, and younger women as sisters with absolute purity. Treat older men. Don't treat them harshly. Treat them with respect. Treat them with honor. And I don't know if I classify myself as an older man. I'm trying to be in denial as long as I can. But I am getting older, and so I want to say to you, I fall into that category now. I'm an older man, so I would like you to adhere to the scriptures and treat me with respect. Don't treat me harshly. Give me some honor. Okay, that's what the scriptures say. Then it says, treat the younger men as brothers. And I don't know if you see this, but what Paul is actually saying is, Timothy, you have a group of people that you're in charge of now. But don't take the role of a ruler. You need to understand, Timothy, that this group of people that I have left with you to look after, they are actually family. He talks about fathers, he talks about mothers, he talks about brothers, he talks about sisters. That makes up a family. So his word of encouragement to Timothy is really, the church is a family. And it should be like that. Grace Church is a family. We're not disconnected. We're connected. Like family is connected. And so he says, treat the older men with respect. Treat younger men as brothers. Treat the older woman as mothers and the younger woman as sisters. So he's given him instruction and he's saying, you know what, treat the church like it's a family. Fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters. But I want to hone in on this, what he says about the older woman. Treat the older woman as mothers. And you might not understand this, but what Paul is writing out of is a cultural setting and also religious traditions of the Jewish people. Because they saw their nation, and still today, see their nation as a family. That's why when they invaded, when Hamas invaded the kibbutz and they took hostages, That's why there was such an outcry and such a response to what was happening. And still today it is like that. Because the hostages, for them, you need to understand the psyche of the Jewish people. The hostages for them is not just so-and-so who live down the street. The hostages for that is family. That's my brother, that's my sister that has been taken hostage. And so Paul writes under that cultural thinking, and he tries to emphasize the fact that the church is a family. So when he's speaking about the older woman, he's emphasizing the importance of honoring and valuing older women. Why? Because older women have wisdom and experience. Now, the older woman, the younger woman, will sometimes despise the advice of the older woman. But you see, God put people in place in the church to operate like a family. And so the older woman need to give, or rather impart, this wisdom and this experience to the younger ones. Because when they do that, they promote a sense of family and a sense of community. A sense of belonging somewhere. So the instruction is to treat the older woman with respect and consideration, just as you would your own mother. And really what he's saying is this: recognize the valuable role that the older women play because of their wisdom and their experience that they gathered over time. Treat the older women like mothers. Now I can say this: mothers are like a history book. They've gathered so much information over the years. And you know, you only realize it when your mother is gone. Now I'm speaking from experience now, because my mother's not here any longer. But she had this volume of knowledge and experience that she could pass on to the next generation. But sometimes we despise that. And you only wake up when she's gone. Because now you start asking questions that she could have given you the answer to, but she's no longer there. So I want to say this to you: if you still have your mother around, value her. Value her. And you know what? Milk her. I mean that. Milk her of all the information that she has. Because later in life you might require it. You'll give your mother a hug. That's good. But you see, it's about recognizing the value of the older woman. Mother suggests a bond of care and concern. Because whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter how your mother treats you, you need to understand that she does it because she cares for you and she's concerned about your welfare. And at a particular moment of time, you might not see it, but you need to understand that she's got the wisdom and the experience and the knowledge that goes with the advice that she's giving you at that particular moment in time. So mothers speaks about care and concern. It promotes a sense of community and belonging. Individuals, young individuals, can look to the older woman for guidance and support. In fact, Titus chapter 2 and verse 4 to 8, it's a verse of scripture that encourages us, or rather encourages the older woman to train up the younger woman. In other words, older woman, you need to pass on the knowledge that you've got, the wisdom that you've accumulated, the experience that you've accumulated. You need to pass it on to your younger woman. Why? Because one day, they might not acknowledge it right now, but one day they are going to be sitting in the seat of the older woman. And their responsibility will then be to pass it on to the younger woman. You see, what is this all about? This is about a generational God. He's a God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And what he wants to do is he wants to see you pass it on to the next generation. So it becomes a generational thing. See, older women need to be seen as keepers of tradition and wisdom. They transmit knowledge and values to the younger generations, ensuring the continuation of the practices that we hold so dear. So these instructions align with the commandment that God gave many, many years ago when he said, honor your father and your mother. So that, there's a promise there. You know what the promise is? Long life. Long life. You honor your father and your mother, and you will have long life. So the older woman in our congregation, I want to say thank you for doing what you're doing. Passing on your information, your experience, your wisdom, your knowledge onto the next generation. I want to say particularly, and I'm not just singling them out, but I want to say particularly thank you to Petru and to Marina. Because they might not know this, but they are my mothers. They are my mothers in this house. I don't get emotional now, but they are. Because through the years, and they've been here many years now with us, through the years, they have been a great encouragement to me. When things went sour, they stood by. And they might not even realize, but I want to honor them. I want to honor them this morning. Because they carried me through. I know they carried me through. Through their prayers. They prayed for me. And they carried me through. And you know what? They sent me words of encouragement. Which not many of you do, by the way. It's like, you know, he's the pastor. He doesn't need encouragement. That's a lie. That's a lie. It comes from the devil, I can tell you now. But they've been there. Little words of encouragement. Little thank you. Thank you, Marina. Thank you. Thank you for your word this morning. See, I look at it and I say, wow, at least someone's listening. Yeah. I don't know if you watched, I want to end with this. Anybody watch I don't know what you call it, the inauguration of the Pope? Anybody watch? One? Nobody? 2, 3, 4, Mark? Nobody else watched it. Nobody else? Anybody else? Right, Gavin, did you watch it? Just put it here, I can see it. Okay, there we go, Gavin watched it. Okay. You see, for most people, it's insignificant. For Catholics, it's extremely important. Yeah? And I being an ex-Catholic, it wasn't important for me, but I was interested in what was happening. And I learned some stuff. Even though I came out of the Roman Catholic Church, I learned some stuff. So they said the Hail Mary. I shared this with Anthony the other night. If you were watching, you would have heard them say the Hail Mary. Many of us have. Anybody ex-Catholics here? Ex-Catholic? Now come on, raise your hand. I want to see ex-Catholics. Okay, quite a few of us ex-Catholics. But they said the Hail Mary, and in light of Mother's Day coming up, I thought it was quite interesting. Hail Mary, full of grace. And then there's a portion that said, Hail Mary, Mother of God. And people frowned at that, on that in the past. But in actual fact, she was. If you acknowledge Jesus as God, and she gave birth to Jesus, then she's the Mother of God. Mother of God. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb. Who? Jesus. That's very interesting. In order to become a mother, you have to give birth. You can't be a mother if you haven't given birth to a child. She only became a mother after she gave birth to Jesus, the Son of God. And God calls her blessed. But here's the interesting thing. Everybody just thinks, oh well, Virgin Mary gave birth to Jesus. She gave birth to more children after that. If you didn't know, Jesus had 4 brothers. It's right there in the scriptures and we just miss it altogether. But he had 4 brothers. It's listed in Mark chapter 6 and verse 3 and again in Matthew chapter 13 verse 55. It actually mentions the children, James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon. Now, James we know, because we read about him in the scriptures, and he even wrote one of the books of the Bible. James was the brother of Jesus, and at one particular time, he was the leader of the church in Jerusalem. We know that from history. So she gave birth. She had children. Here's the interesting thing. She also had daughters. Oh, didn't know that. Yeah, she had daughters, plural. Because in Matthew's Gospel, it mentions, they actually say, is this Jesus? Isn't this the son of Joseph? And isn't his brothers, James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? And isn't his sisters also here with us? So he had a whole family. I wonder what it was like growing up with Jesus as your brother. Think about that for a moment. What would it have been like? You play any game with him, he always wins. God, think about it. You're playing marbles. Remember in the day we used to play marbles with a wood and you have to throw it? Yeah. Imagine playing, he just directs where the marble goes. Must have been crazy growing up with him, man. And think about the pressure that must have been on the brothers, because Jesus, according to the Bible, never ever sinned. Which means he never ever did anything wrong. So in that family setting, he would have always been the favorite son. I wonder what the other brothers felt like. Got to keep up with his standard. It's so high. But here's the interesting that I want to get to this morning. Jesus had concern for his mother. Just like you and I should have concern for our mothers. I say he had concern because he's hanging on the cross. Remember? He's hanging on the cross and he says to his mother, he points to John and he says to his mother, behold your son. And he says to John, and he points to his mother, and he says, John, behold your mother. What is Jesus doing here? What is Jesus doing here? Jesus is portraying a sense of family. John, when I'm gone, it's going to be your mother. What does that mean? That means, John, you are going to have to look after her. He's concerned about it. John, this is your mother. She is going to nurture you just as you're going to nurture her. So mothers are extremely important. Mary was extremely important to Jesus. It became John's responsibility to look after Mary. And he had to take her in as his mother. The same instruction that Paul is giving to Timothy. Treat the older woman as mothers. So, if you're a mother here this morning, I pray that the blessing of God would rest upon your life. Come on, let's stand.